Hi everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to be learning about some of our exponent properties. We're going to focus on our zero and negative exponent properties. So the first thing that you have to know and understand is anything raised to the zero power is equal to 1. So 4 to the zero power is equal to 1. A negative number to the zero power is equal to 1. A decimal like 5.14 to the zero power is equal to 1. So anything, even if I were to raise myself to the zero power, I would be equal to 1. The second thing about exponents that we have to know and understand is you're not allowed to have a negative exponent. The way you look at it is think of all numbers as fractions. So for example, 7 to the negative 3 over 1. If I have a negative up top, I need to rewrite it as a positive on the bottom. So 7 to the negative 3 over 1, negative 3 is negative on top, so I rewrite it as 1 over 7 to the third. And now that 7 over 3, or 7 to the third power, is on the bottom. Same thing with a negative number. I have negative 5 to the negative 2 power, so I need to move it to the bottom and make the exponent positive, not the number, but the exponent. So negative 5 to the negative 2 power is the same as 1 over negative 5 to the 2 power, or negative 5 squared. So just remember, no negative exponents are ever going to be allowed. Okay, so let's look at some of this stuff. Right now, if we have 3 to the 0 power, enter it into your calculator. 3 to the 0 power, 1. 10 to the 0 power, 1. 2 to the 0 power, 1. But if you enter 0 to the 0 power, you get undefined. Zero to the third power is equal to 0. 0 squared is equal to 0. 0 to the first power is equal to 0. 0 to the 0 is still undefined. The reason it's undefined is it couldn't be equal to both 1 and 0 at the same time. So that's why it's undefined. So you cannot raise 0 to the 0 power. So let's go ahead and get started with some of our examples. And like I said earlier, we have that major exponent rule that you need to know and understand. And we're going to keep saying these terms or these sentences over and over. A negative on top gets moved to the bottom as a positive. A negative on the bottom gets moved to the top as a positive. No negative exponents. So if I look at letter A, 9 to the negative 2 power, put it over 1 and rewrite. 9 to the negative 2 gets rewritten as a positive 2 on the bottom. Now we put a 1 up top to hold our place. So 1 over 9 squared. But you can all figure out what 9 squared is. That's 9 times 9. So it's really 1 over 81. Yes, you do have to simplify your exponents if the number is small enough. Looking at letter B, 4 to the negative third power. Again, I'm going to put it over 1 and rewrite. A 4 to the negative 3 on top gets moved to the bottom as a positive. Again, I put a 1 up top to hold its place, and I simplify. Well, what is 4 to the third power? Remember, it's 4 times 4 times 4, which gives you 64. Letter C, be very careful with your negatives. So again, I have a negative exponent on top, so I move it to the bottom as a positive. But take note, my negative 4 is still negative. That's not changing signs. The only thing that changes signs is that little exponent. And what number do I put up top to hold its place? Good, a 1. So I get 1 over. Now here's where you have to be careful. Negative 4 squared. If you were to enter negative 4 squared into your calculator, it's actually going to spit out a negative 16. That is wrong. Whenever you have a negative base, like negative 4, in your calculators, you must put parentheses around it. Because remember, that's saying a negative 4 times negative 4 actually should be a positive 16 on the bottom. Great. Now, negative 5 to the 0 power, oh, we know this one. That's just equal to 1, because anything to the 0 power is equal to 1. We flip on over to letter E. Now we see that we have a negative on the bottom. So a negative exponent on the bottom gets moved to the top as a positive. So 3 squared over 1. But 3 squared, 3 times 3 is equal to 9 over 1. But we typically just write it as 9. But 9 over 1 would be okay also. Letter F, 1 over 6 to the negative 1 power. Okay, that 6 to the negative 1 gets moved to the, you got it, top as a positive. But 6 to the first power, any number to the first power, is just equal to that number itself. So it's just a 6 over 1 or 6. So how are these negative exponents feeling to you? Are they feeling okay? So all of these ones were simplifying. We were given numbers raised to a certain power. With exponent properties, we really like to focus on variables. And the thing that you have to remember is you have to go base by base. We have our big bases. We call them our big bases and our little numbers. Those little numbers are our exponents. So when you go to simplify all these expressions, you need to go base by base. So the first thing I do is I put it over 1, and I ask myself, does the 5 have a negative exponent? Nope, so he stays. A to the third, is there a negative exponent? No, so she stays. But b to the negative 2, ding, 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 negative exponent, a negative on the bottom gets, or a negative on top gets moved to the bottom as a positive. And now I have it fully simplified. Let's go on to the next example. Go base by base. So on top I have a 1. Okay, there's no negative exponent, so it's staying where it's at. X to the negative 5 on the bottom gets moved to the top as a positive. And again, you could put a 1 underneath to hold its place, but really this is just x to the 5th power. Either answer would work. I would not mark 1x to the 5th over 1 wrong though. Letter C, I put a 1 underneath it and I rearrange. X to the negative 9 on top gets moved to the bottom as a positive. To hold my space, I put a 1 up top. Now look at the way I wrote that x to the 9th power. It looks like x9. Be very careful when you write your exponents to write your big bases big and your little exponents little so you know that they're exponents. Letter D is another fantastic one. Go base by base. My 3 on top stays because there's no negative exponents. My n negative 3 on the bottom, ding, 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 negative exponent needs to get moved to the top as a positive. Again, you can put it over 1, or you could just write it as 3n to the 3rd power. Let's do a couple more. Looking at letter E. Again, I put it over 1, and I go base by base. As my daughter used to sing when she was younger, it's all about the base, about the base. So looking at number 4, this 4 has a no negative exponent, so she stays. C to the negative 3, negative exponent, not allowed. It gets moved to the bottom as a positive. And then my B, no negative exponent, so it stays. Let's see here. Letter G is another fantastic one. So looking at letter G, you have to go base by base because what's that song again? It's always written about math. It's all about the base, about the base. So C negative 2 on top. There's a negative exponent, ding, 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 ding. So we need to rewrite it as a positive 2 on the bottom. Now, if we look on the bottom, I have D to the negative 5th power. He needs to get moved up top as a positive. Great job. And let's go ahead and we are going to do these last 2 problems because now we're having fun. Put it over 1 and rearrange. Does the 10 stay or go? The 10 stays. That's another song just written about math. Should I stay or should I go? C negative 2 gets moved to the bottom as a positive. Great job. D negative 4 on top again gets moved to the bottom as a positive. Fantastic. One more to go here. All right, again, it's all about the base. A negative 3 on top gets moved to the, got it, bottom as a positive. Oh, and on the bottom, I have an x to the fifth. He's already positive, so he stays. And then what number do I put up top to hold its place? You guessed it, a 1. And I'm done. If you have any questions at all, feel free to rewatch this lesson, or you could also ask your teacher for additional help. Thank you very much and have a great day. Bye.